And it's kind of a mixed bag this week. We've got some stuff in bloom, we've got some new Hoyas, and we got some other stuff I'm trying out. So join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at who's new and some other stuff too. And before we get underway, I want to send out a special thanks to Blooming Writer, who bought me coffees this past week. Your support for my channel goes a long way in helping to keep me in new Hoyas and Dischidias and technology and other stuff that goes into this process. And so I thank you very much for your support. And we've got a couple things in bloom this week. The first one up is my Hoya Colina IR26. And this is the first time that this plant has bloomed. It's right in there. And there's another peduncle over there. And there's a little bit of a third one there. This plant's doing really well. It was kind of pokey for a bit. It typically lives back here on this middle shelf, which is why there's some sun stressing on those leaves. It's grown a little bit too tall, but it's growing. It's growing really well. It doesn't quite need an optimistic trellis yet, but it's definitely working on it. Leaves are very pretty, really neat. As I said, the first time it's bloomed, so the blooms are very pretty, a pale yellow, very much star shape, with some dark maroon coronas in the center. So yeah, that's very cool. Very happy about this one. This is doing really well, so that's cool. The other one that I have over here is not the first time blooming, but it is in bloom right now. And that's my Dischidia ovata. And let's see if I can, there's some buds tucked away in there. And there's some there's buds everywhere on this one. I don't know if I'll be able to turn that off, but I'll put some close-ups off to the side here. This is a gorgeous plant. This was my Dischidia gateway plant, just absolutely beautiful. And it did okay. I had it in bark and sphagnum in a net pot and a cover pot, and it did okay. But when I moved it to self-watering, and it's in an organic mix, my standard organic mix, cocoa husk chunks, long fiber sphagnum, fine bark, and pumice and pon. And it just seems to be loving life right now. It's just such a pretty plant. The leaves are absolutely beautiful. It lives on the front of my desk right here, about a meter or 39.37 inches from a southeast facing window. So it gets a little bit of early morning sun and it gets fallout during the rest of the day. And it seems to really like that location. I think it's just gorgeous. So yeah, it blooms regularly, but it just happened to be in bloom this week. So I thought we'd bring it out and show it off. I got a couple more in the on-deck circle. If all goes well, my Hoya clemenciorum is going to bloom for the first time. And some of you may recall the Hoya that I nicknamed Anne's Treat. It was a gift from the owner of the Plants Are Life shop on Etsy. And it has grown very, very well for me, and it's put out its first peduncles. So fingers crossed, maybe next week I'll have those pictures to share for you. But yeah, that's who's in bloom this week. And we have a bunch of new stuff this week, and some of it is even Hoyas. So the first one up is my Hoya hongleniae. Now, Hoya hongleniae is native to Vietnam. It was collected in 2021 in Tiên Giang province, Phu Quoc Island, and I apologize for my lack of Vietnamese skills. And it was published in 2023 in Phytotaxa. It was published by Leonid Vladimirovich Avryanov, Ba Wan Trong, Hoc Bon Nguyen, and Van Can Nguyen. And it's a very pretty little plant. It was named after Mrs. Nguyen T. Hong Len. So Hong Len Ye. Very pretty leaves. Nice little bit of splash on them. There's one of the new leaves. And there's another little leaf coming in right in there, which has started coming out since its arrival. So thumbs up on that. And there's another little growth point which has activated right in there. And I'll try and get some close-ups of these leaves for your viewing entertainment. And so it's doing okay. The cellar this came from grows in a really nice mix. I really like their mix. It's mostly pumice. So it made its transition to this self-watering pot. And of course, there's no roots yet, but it seems to be doing okay. As I do with most things when I transfer them to pond, the system has not gotten set up yet. So I've been giving this little squirts of my nutrient solution, top watering it a little bit every 1 or 2 days, maybe 2 or 3 days, realistically, truthfully, just to make sure that there's moisture up here. So that seems to have worked with this one. Blossoms are supposed to be beautiful, so we'll keep you posted. This one came from my friends at North Austin Plant Company, and you can find them on Palm Street. And this is Hoya Hongleniae. Next up is my Hoya stenaki. Now, Hoya stenaki is native to Papua New Guinea. It was first collected in 2011 in Baiberi, Sanduan province in Papua New Guinea, and published in 2017 in Gardens Bulletin by Nathaniel Simonson Johonue and Michaela Rhoda. And it's named after the late Mr. Stenaka Svensson of Sweden. And this one has these big, beautiful, dark purple, goth, star-shaped blossoms. And I thought, I don't have anything like that. So I'm going to get me one. I found one at a very reasonable price. And yeah, it's rather nice. This little part right in here, now this has only been here a couple days. I think maybe I got it late last week. And there were some new leaves coming in. The shipping has not seemed to bother them. It's got, I can see a decent root structure in there. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But the roots look good. I'm going to see what they look like when I take it out of this little cup. Whether or not it goes in pond or if it stays in organic mix. The leaves look like a little chunky. Looks like they've got some substance to them. So it might go into pond. We'll see. I'll keep you posted on that. The leaves are slightly pubescent on the top. You can feel the pubescence in them. The underside makes me think of a globulosa. They're fuzzy. It's not the long fuzziness of a globulosa, but it's like that. They're very pretty. They are fairly firm. There's a slightly recessed central vein and some slightly recessed side veins. And I'll put a close-up of the leaves. Just so you get a feel for them. But yeah, the blooms are gorgeous. And this was labeled dark form or dark leaves. But I've seen photos of 2 different shades of the blooms. The blooms are kind of a Not a pale magenta, but a good solid magenta. And then there's another clone that has darker magenta, almost purplish. So we're going to see, I'm hoping that this one is the dark form and not just dark leaves, but we'll see. It seems to be doing well. No complaints, all happy with this one. Just the fact that those little leaves did not die back is, to me, a good sign. So yeah, very happy about this one. And this one came from Second City Tropicals on Etsy. And this is my new Hoya stenaki. I was out running some errands last week and was near a favorite plant store. And so I thought, as long as you're over here, you might as well stick your head in the door. So I did. And I found something new to me. I'm sure many of you have tried it and grown it successfully, but new to me. And I thought, I'm going to give this a try. My friend Erica has one and it's doing really well for her. So yeah, I thought I'd try one out. And this is Nepenthes alata. Now, Nepenthes, sometimes called pitcher plants, are native. This one, alata, is native to the Philippines. It was first published in 1837 in Flora de Filipinas, según el sistema sexual de Linneo. Let me try that again. Según el sistema sexual de Linneo. So the whole title means the flora of the Philippines according to Linnaeus's sexual system. And while that could sound rather kinky, I'm sure it just has something to do with plants and their happy parts. Anyway, this one's kind of neat. It's very interesting. It's got a couple well-established little pictures on it right now. And it looked, there were several of them there, so I just picked one that looked good. I have had very good success with some other carnivorous plants. I've got a Drosera over here and my Pinguicula over here. And this is a different kind of carnivorous plant. So yeah, we're going to give it a try. The Pinguiculas and the Droseras tend to be bog plants, so they like a good amount of light. These are more or less understory plants, so they like that bright and direct light, the one they always talk about. So yeah, that's what we're going to go for. I have a hanging pot for it. I don't know where I'm going to put it because it would probably appreciate being in this room. But we'll see. But it's very cool. Those are very, very neat. So we're going to give this a try and see if we can keep this going. I'm told that it likes to be in something that's primarily long fibrous sphagnum with some chunky stuff in it, but primarily long fibrous sphagnum. So I'm going to add a little bit of fine bark and some pumice just to keep it airy and it hold a certain amount of moisture, but it won't hold water per se. If there's a difference between moisture and water, you know what I mean. But yeah, this one looks kind of cool. Definitely worth giving this a try. And it could crash and burn or it could go really well. So we'll keep you updated on this one. This one came from Jordan's Jungle in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And this is Nepenthes alata. Next up is a jewel orchid that I have grown before, and this is Ludisia discolor. Now, Ludisia discolor is native to Brunei, Cambodia, China, including Hainan Island and south central and southeast China, Kalimantan and Sumatra in Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, the Philippines, Malaya, Sabah, and Sarawak in Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And it was first published in 1859 in Florae Javae et Insularum this one's tough, Adjectinium Nova series. Scripsit Corollas Lodovicus Bloom, which is the flora of Java and the adjacent islands, new series written by Charles Ludovicus Bloom, or as he's known, Carl Ludwig von Blume. And those leaves are just beautiful. I have grown this before and I did very, very well with it. I have tried other jewel orchids and will probably try them again, but had difficulty getting the right mix and humidity for them, but not Ludisia discolor. This one grew very, very well. I had a big, like a 10-inch pot of Ludisia discolor. And I let it get too dry. And it's no longer here, so hence this one. They're very much fun. It's an understory plant, but it's a ground-dwelling orchid. It grows in the leaf matter and rotting stuff on the floor. Not floor here, although there is some rotting matter and stuff on the floor, but the jungle floor. So I saw these, they were very reasonably priced. It looked like a good, healthy plant. And we're gonna try this again. I'll start it off in a small dish with something similar to what Nepenthes is gonna be in, but I'm probably gonna put in a bit more cocoa peat. So it'll be long fiber, it'll be like my basic organic mix, but I'm gonna up the level of long fiber sphagnum and cocoa peat to give this a little bit more of a soil-like mix. Right now it looks like it's growing in cocoa peat and probably perlite, just as I'm picking around at it. So I'm just gonna give it something airier and something a little bit, something that drains a little bit better but still holds some moisture. So yeah, I'm hoping to, next time I show you this, have a nice pot of this going on. These are so much fun. This one bloomed for me when I had it before regularly, usually in January or February. So I don't expect that from this one this year, but I have expectations for next year. I just love the color of those leaves and the markings on them. That's just very, very cool. That's very cool. This one also, I found at Jordan's Jungle in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and this is Ludisia discolor. Weeks ago, one of y'all asked about my lithops and how they were doing. And oh, they're doing really well. I'm very happy with my lithops and their friends. So lithops are a succulent that are native to Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. And in South Africa, it's the Cape Provinces, the Free State, the Northern Provinces, and they're so very, very cool. This one is Lithops Sato's Violet. And it has done very well this last year. Now, lithops, because they're succulents, they require less water. They do like a decent amount of light. And what they do, as you can see from these, is that the leaves will open up, come up and start spread. So you have like two thumbs together. And at some point, in that seam in between those two sections, it will start to open up and you will see the next batch of leaves down inside the plant. And so at that point, you stop watering. I water my lithops about once a month, and they are in, as you can see, just small plastic 2-inch pots, and that 2 inches is, actually they're 2 3/4 inches wide, which is about 7 centimeters. So I water them once a month, and they're in plain pond. There's nothing else but pond in here. I've seen mixes that have some cocoa peat and other stuff, and there's lots of different lithop mixes. I'm by no means an expert, and this is not the only way to grow lithops. But I decided to grow them in straight pond. That way I have no chance of overwatering them, which is the problem. And they have done very well. I have now about 24 of them in various sizes and various stages. So this is, as I said, Lithops Satos Violet. This one, I haven't memorized all the names yet, is Lithops Otziana C350A Big Teeth. And if you look at the tops of the leaves, and I'll put some close-ups of each of these, there's little like teeth patterns along the seams. This one's done very well. This one's been here almost a year. This one I just got, it just was labeled Lithops, so I don't have a species on it. But those things are very, very pretty and very neat and growing very well. Now I have all of my lithops growing in a south-southeast facing window, right in the window, like on the sash and on the sill. And so they get quite a bit of bright light. They also, it's cool in those windows in the wintertime, and it doesn't seem to faze them. This one came without any kind of identification, just as lithops, but that's doing very well. And this one, you can see a little bit of what happens when the outer leaves start to die off and the inner leaves start emerging. So these have just, oh, and there's one more. This is, let's see if I can pronounce this, Argyroderma testiculare. And I think I know what all that means, but I don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not going to talk about what might be silver-skinned. And this is the whole group is sometimes referred to as mesembs, so this is a relative of lithops. So if you're looking for a plant for your cubicle or something that doesn't require, there's just like no babying, these are either going to live or they're going to die for you. And I have had some casualties, I'll straight up admit that. It's either going to live or it's going to die. I have it in, as I said, straight pond, well-draining pot. There's drainage holes in the bottom. I water it once a month until the leaves start to separate. And when I see that happening, I stop watering. I have forgotten to water these in some cases for 3 or 4 months. Let's say 3 months, because that makes me seem less incompetent. And they are fine. They're absolutely fine. So if you want something neat and fun that you could keep at work, that you don't have to worry about, that are just going to be interesting for you, you know, they're cool. They're very cool. They're sometimes sold as living stones, but of course that doesn't tell you anything. And it wouldn't, for example, tell you that these are 2 different species. So yeah, and on this one you can see some of the old leaves down around the bottom there. They just kind of peel up and turn kind of papery. But yes, if you've seen them, if you've thought about them, I don't do really well with a lot of other succulents, but lithops and their relatives, absolutely cool. Absolutely cool. Most of my collection came from a shop its secret succulents on Etsy. They're just over in Connecticut, so they're very nearby. And it's just so cool. So if you want to try something neat that's fairly inexpensive in most cases and fairly easy to do that will put up with less than perfect care, check out Lithops. They've been a lot of fun for me. Next up, I'm going to try a little bit of an experiment. I haven't had the best of luck with begonias, but there was one I saw that I wanted to try, and I did. I'm apologizing for this from the beginning. This is my Begonia Dragii Glasgow, and it's got just beautiful, beautiful leaves. Begonia Dragii is from South Africa, from the Cape provinces and KwaZulu-Natal. The leaves are rather small. They don't get big and have very nice markings. And this one has done well for me. The leaves are about, I'm going to say, from the tallest point, 2 inches. Or just about 5 centimeters. I have killed a bunch of begonias, but I have managed to keep this one alive. And I was catching up on my video viewing the other day, and Wild Fern had begonias growing in semi-hydroponic, in pond and self-watering. And I thought, if there was ever, I really like this, so I want it to be nice and full and lush. If there was ever a good plant to try in pond and self-watering, for me, that could be it, because I may have a good place for this now. I may have figured that out, but it needs more attention than I am able to give it presently. So my experiment is, I'm going to take some cuttings of this and see how well I do at rooting them. And I've got a jar with some of my nutrient solution and water. So I thinned it down a little bit. It's got some plastic wrap over the top. And we are going to take some cuttings and see if I can make something decent out of these. And what I typically do is, for something like this, is I just poke a hole in the plastic and slip the cutting through, just so that it kind of holds it in a better spot. So let's do this now. Let's try that. I'm going to cut some of these basal leaves off. And set that in. I'm going to try and take a couple more, because that one's just, some of these branches are really long and just need to be trimmed anyway. So we're going to try, let's say, 4 cuttings. And one more. Let's find one that's not growing in the best location. That would be you. This is a good. So I'm just kind of trimming off the stuff that's at the bottom of the stem. And I've never propagated begonias before, so this is all an experiment. And so I've got 4 cuttings in a jar. With luck, they will root, and I will keep you posted on this. I found a nice self-watering pot because I plan on this thing getting big. This is the kind with the platform and the meter in the bottom, but I'm going to use a mix of pon and pumice, and with luck, this will be able to keep an offspring of this begonia a little bit happier, which will in turn make me a little bit happier, and fingers crossed. This is from Steve's Leaves. It was one of my first orders from them. It was first published in 1836 in Allgemeine Gartenzeitung by Christoph Friedrich Otto and Albert Gottfried Friedrich. As I said, came from Steve's Leaves, and this poor, long-suffering beast is my Hoya Dragii Glasgow. Question for the comments. Again, this week, not really a question. First of all, thank you to everyone who sent in or who commented with their location. If you did, I got you, okay? If you haven't yet, there's still time to add your location to the list, and we'll run on the last show of the year. And for this week, it's going to be a Q&A. So any questions that you would like to ask, go ahead and either email them to plantedinri@gmail.com or ask them in the comments, and I'll answer them if I feel like it, if I want to. So yeah, ask any questions you'd like, and we'll take a look at that next week as part of the video as well. So yeah, in the comments below. And as always, I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me this week's end. Please remember to click the thumbs up like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, and down next to the thanks button down here, there's a hype button, but don't click on that until you're done with the comments. Someone did that for me last week and found out that they had to log out and then log back in. It's like, we need to have a talk with YouTube about that. But anyway, it's down there, and click the hype button when you're all done reading everything and making your own comments. A lot of the products that you've seen me use are available through my Amazon storefront, and there's a QR code over here that you can scan that will take you to that storefront. I receive a small commission on the sales, but it doesn't increase your price at all, and it helps support the channel. If you're in the market for grow lights, I have a relationship with Sonsi, and if you click on this QR code, it'll take you to their site, sonsiled.com. And if you use my code, PlantedInRI, at checkout, you receive 30% off the prices that are listed there. I've been really happy with my Sonsi grow lights, and yeah, I'd give them thumbs up. If you'd like to support the channel, there's another QR code that'll take you to my Buy Me a Coffee page, or there's the thanks button down here next to where that hype button was, and you can send me a super thanks. As usual, I'm going to post links to a couple more videos. I think it's over here. Maybe it's over here. One of the sides will have links to a couple more videos. And please enjoy the rest of your week's end.